What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, I'm going to give you 5 essential things that you should know if you're playing Conan Exiles. These tips are things that have just kind of become second nature to myself while playing Conan Exiles. However, I do see these things come up on occasion in different places like the forums, or they get asked in my Discord. So I thought it would be good if I made a video highlighting these different things in the game so you know what's going on. Now, if you enjoy these types of tips and videos, do me a favor, go ahead and whack that like button. Show me that I should continue making videos like this. Jumping right into it, this is something that is going to be console specific or controller specific should you be a person like myself who plays on PC with a controller. And it has to do with the crafting system. So we're going to go into crafting, and what I'm going to do is actually just pick a stone pick in order to craft. And I'm going to craft that there. Now, a lot of new players that use a controller don't actually realize that what happens is that disappears. It doesn't actually go into your inventory screen. You can see on the left-hand side here, it is totally gone. An interesting story about that is this actually happened to a friend of mine that I bought the game. He called me a couple of days later and says, man, that game is super buggy. I've crafted like 5 pickaxes and they just disappear. So I told him the same thing that I'm going to tell you now. If you are using a controller, you want to hit your L1 button or your left bumper in order to bring up your tool wheel. This is the same as the hotbar, so this is your hot wheel, and this is where the items are going to go if you have space in them. So anything that's usable, even if you're picking it up off the ground, is going to automatically go into this wheel. Now, if you are picking items up and you're not seeing them go into your hot wheel and you want them to, there's actually a new setting in the game. You can go to settings, gameplay, scroll down a little bit, and there's an option to send new items to shortcuts wheel. But that only affects the items that you actually pick up in the world. It does not affect craftable items. So if you've crafted something and you don't see it in your inventory, it's likely in your radial wheel. Tip number 4 is about abandonment, or the decay system. If you're not familiar with Conan Exiles and you're playing on a server, Conan Exiles has a decay system. Now currently I have it disabled on my private server. However, I'm going to enable that for this video. But if you're not sure if the server you're playing on has it enabled or not, what you want to do is go into your settings, scroll over to server settings, and then select abandonment. And this will tell you not only whether decay is enabled, but it'll also tell you the maximum amount of time your building will have once you reach that point. Now, I wouldn't be worried about this in your solo game, as decay should be turned off in your solo game, so you shouldn't have to worry about it. But when you're swapping over to server play, you do want to check the time on things. And as you can see, this great wheel of pain is actually going to decay in 1 hour and 29 minutes. Now, you can get your timer all the way up to the max by building with foundations and walls and making an actual building for your large placeables. I'm not going to get real deep into it here. I just wanted to show you that it does have decay if you're playing on a server. So if you start losing things to decay, you need to look at how long your building and placeables have before they decay. And I've got a full guide on decay on my channel. I'll link that in the top right hand corner of this video. Tip number 3 has to do with thrall hunting, and it really has to do with thrall hunting and going through loading screens. So as I leave this dungeon, what's going to happen is my rope is going to look awfully funny. There we go. My rope looks like it's empty. Now there's a couple of things you can do here. You could freak out and totally put your rope away, run away, and go find another thrall. Or what you could do is run to your wheel and actually interact with it. And that's what you should be doing, because what you're seeing displayed on the screen is actually a visual bug. So what you want to do is take that empty rope all the way back to your wheel and interact with your wheel. If you're not 100% sure that there's something on there, what you can actually do is select the item, and you'll see that that item's durability is still going down. That means that there's still something connected to my wheel. And when I interact with this wheel, you will see that there is one thrall that pops up on there. And there you go, there's a thrall that popped in there. Now there's really only 2 times that you're going to be taking thralls through a loading screen. One is when you're leaving a dungeon, and the other would be when you are using a map room. And I'll show you that it does actually in fact work with the map room as well. So if we teleport to this obelisk, as we come to the other side here, the rope is going to do the same thing. Maybe not. There we go. It actually did the same thing. Even though you could see the body here, it is actually showing that it's not on my rope. So if we run back down here to the Wheel of Pain that I've set up for this test, and I'll show you again, we go to inventory and we look at the rope, the durability is going down, meaning that you are using the rope and there's something attached to it. So all we do is interact with the Wheel of Pain, and there you go, it's actually on the wheel. So whatever you do, don't freak out when you see that there's nothing on your rope, just run to your wheel and interact with it. Lastly, for those of you that may be playing with mods like Pippi that will give you the ability to either warp or to set a home point, that is the same teleportation, and the thrall will be on your rope when you reach your destination. Tip number 2 has to do with climbing. Now, there are a lot of occasions and a lot of places where your character will fall off the wall and not stay attached to it, like what I have happening right here. If I just try to climb up it, it knocks me back down to the ground. Now this can be rather frustrating if you're not sure how to overcome it, and you may decide not to climb that area in general. However, there's an easy trick to get past what's happening there, and that's just to hold the jump button the entire time you're climbing. If you hold the jump button the entire time you're climbing, it does make your climbing smoother, but in addition to that, if there is a section that wants to push you off the wall, you can readjust. So it will try to push you off, you'll notice a slight shudder, and then you can readjust the direction that you're climbing. There are quite a few areas that are going to cause you problems when you try to climb them, and there's really no way to know when you're going to get to one of those areas until you get to it. So my suggestion is, while you're climbing, just hold the jump button, whatever that may be for you. My last tip today is actually about star metal and the fact that it can damage your buildings. Now, star metal does come down as a meteor, and if it hits your building, it is actually going to cause massive amounts of damage. One thing to know about star metal damage is that if it does hit your building, it's not actually going to show as being damaged in the event log. So that's a really good way to know that star metal actually hit your building, that it wasn't something else that did damage to your building, like the decay system, or if you're in PvP, somebody else raiding your base. And with this tip, I'll say what you need to do if you want to build up in the areas where star metal falls, you definitely need to scout the area where it falls and make very calculated decisions on where you might want to build up here, because the star metal will fall right in the center of your building. It does not look to see if there's a building there, it just falls where it wants to. So that's my 5 essential tips to Conan Exiles. If you've got a tip that you want to share with everybody else, or you'd like to see me make a video about your tip, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. The whack moments in this video were sponsored by my legendary supporters. If you'd like to become a member, you can click the button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. And if you want to continue the fun, there's 2 videos on the screen. You can pick one of those to watch next. Please don't forget to whack the like button, and if you're new to the channel, I'd encourage you to click that subscribe button, click that bell so you get notified when I upload another video.